lightning, it can, even in the middle of the day, if of course it's usually cloudy when you have lightning, but you can see the lightning above the sunshine and the daylight. At nighttime, it is, a very powerful and it's a beautiful thing. If it's not hitting you, it's beautiful to watch.
When Mary was told that she was pregnant with Jesus, that she would give birth to Jesus and everything, and she talked to the angel then, he's not described like this angel.
No.
Is he?
Most of the other occasions we find where an angel comes, talks, they know it's an angel. Most cases. Abraham did not, it says, because it said he entertained angels unaware for a while. But most cases are not. What they appear to be, but even they done nothing to make them really frightened in most cases. Now perhaps the news may frighten them, but the initial appearance of the angel does not frighten them. This here was a very frightening event because these guards who are trained men who have seen and done everything, they just faint away and they don't want anybody to know they're there. They just act like they're dead.
Well, they know they're in trouble too.
They're in trouble too. Okay, yeah.
I have a feeling I would have done the same thing.
Well, yes, we all would have been.
I would have either run or I would have fainted probably dead.
Even the angel says to the women, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus who has been crucified. He is not here, for he has risen, just as he said. Come see the place where he was lying. Go quickly and tell his disciples that he has risen from the dead, and behold, he is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him. Behold, I have told you." Now, Matthew doesn't include all the things that you got to read all the accounts of the gospel to find out all the things that happened. Peter and John run to the tomb. There's just various, the various things that happen that are recorded in different ones. So you got to read them all to put the whole picture together. It says they left the tomb quickly with fear and great joy, and ran to report it to his disciples. Behold, Jesus met them and greeted them, and they came up and took hold of his feet and worshipped him. Then Jesus said to them, "Do not be afraid. Go and take word to my brethren to leave for Galilee, and there they will see me." Now while they were on their way, some of the guard came into the city and reported to the chief priest all that had happened. And when they had assembled with the elders and consulted together, they gave a large sum of money to the soldiers and said, "You are to say his disciples came by night and stole him away while we were asleep. And if this should come to the governor's ears, we will win him over and keep you out of trouble." And they took the money and did as they had been instructed. And this story was widely spread among the Jews, and is to this day.
Hey, Roger,
Yes, sir.
why didn't they want them to know about Jesus? Only the Jews, I see.
Do what now?
I said, how come they didn't want them to know about Jesus, whether he was still alive or not?
Well, these are Jews, and they, remember, these are the same Jews that talked Pilate into crucifying him. These are the leaders of the Jewish nation, and then that's the reason they had Pilate put a guard, because they'll take and steal him, and then say he rose from the dead. But these particular events, there are people today even that God give me a sign. You hear that, maybe not here in the church, but I've heard people say, "Give me a sign that I should do this or shouldn't do that." Signs don't cure everybody.
There was proof that they were wrong.
It was proof that they were wrong. These are men, the soldiers who were frightened to death, so to speak, and they go tell it to the religious leader, said it happened. In other words, it happened just like he said it was going to. This guy you killed, he said he was going to raise the dead. He did it all. He's gone.
Back in 25, verse 25 of chapter 27, they're the ones that said, crucify him and his blood be on us and our
Look,
children.
us be on us and our children. Yeah,
They were all in.
they were all in. But there was no remorse. There was no changing these guys around, because even after all the things that happened here, well, you know, them soldiers said, man, we was there at a great big earthquake, and a great big lightning. Somebody came down just so bright you couldn't even see. You see so bright.
Well, it had to be a pretty large sum of money to buy these guards off, because this was a matter of life and
Yeah, this is a
death.
penalty of death for them letting somebody steal if that's what happened.
Sleep on the job.
Asleep on the job.
Too,
Yeah.
Is this the only, where that they tell about giving them money? I don't remember reading that before.
I'm not sure. I read some of the other accounts today to get the full picture here, but I don't remember about giving them money.
Yeah, I think this is the only account that talks about them paying them off. I think Matthew is the only account.
And I know what I was looking for is in the main where it says they fell over and became like dead men. And some of the others don't talk about the angel appearing. They just and some of these other things.
There's nothing new under the sun, is there?
That's what Solomon said, and he was right, wasn't he?
I
Well,
mean,
these
you know.
priests and elders did not want to hear this story.
They didn't want to hear
They
the story.
messed them up, so it'd be better to stop it, try to.
They was bound and determined to get rid of him because he was taking away from their influence on people.
When they got him on the cross and he died, the Jews celebrated. I mean, they thought, we're done with him.
Yeah.
You know, and this ministry is going to die out. You know,
Check me out, because I may not have this. I believe that if you look, I think the high priest was a Sadducee. Am I right or wrong?
I don't know.
And if that's right, they didn't believe in resurrection at all anyhow.
Well, there are a bunch of reasons why they didn't want Jesus to be risen. I mean, he didn't set up the kingdom like they thought he would.
Yeah.
He put himself on the same level with God by calling himself the Son of God, making him equal with God, and that was accusation of blasphemy. He was pretty much everything that he did. They had a problem with, because it took away from their, not necessarily from, it didn't take anything from the law, but it took away from their traditions and the way they viewed things.
He wasn't doing anything to include them. You know that. I think.
If he had come and had an earthly kingdom, then they probably would have been a big part of it.
Yeah, they'd have been princes or whatever. If he'd had an earthly kingdom.
Well, he also called them out and told the people exactly what they were,
Yes.
what they were doing. They didn't like that.
There's one particular. He just keeps calling them hypocrites.
The whole Sermon on the Mount is don't be like these guys over here.
Yeah, don't be like them guys over there. And then he says you accomplish the whole world to make a proselyte. And when you get through, he's a bigger child of hell than you are. You know, you take a pretty good guy and make him a proselyte and run him. You know, make him more evil than he was when you started with him. Yes.
reading that, you know, whenever it talks about the face, you know, being bright, making the soldiers fall deathly asleep or whatever. And then in that, it kind of turns around and acts like the angel starts talking to the women.
Yeah,
But in Mark, they don't see him until they go into the tomb.
yeah,
And he's just like a young man, is what it says in Mark.
yeah.
I guess kind
So-
of changed how he,
Well, some of them want to say that there's two angels, one on the outside, one on the inside. But I haven't. I'd go back and research that and see if if that's just something I dreamed up or was told, or if it's really in there. But these women, when they leave there, they're afraid. You know, that they talk to an angel and they're afraid. But now he could have. You know, it said here that he's sitting out there on top of that rock. You know. He rolled the stone away, yes.
Several of the ladies know that I just got back from Albuquerque on a trip.
Yeah?
And in Groom, Texas, which is on this side of Amarillo, there is a 400-foot cross that you see right off of the interstate. If you've never stopped there, guys, you need to make a special trip. It'd be a wonderful trip for us ladies to go on. They have 12 stations of Jesus during the crucifixion, life size. I mean, it's enormous. And then they have the tomb, and you can actually walk into the tomb. And it just puts chills on you when you walk into that tomb. And when you read this and you think about it, and one lady said that she was in it one time, and there were several people that started singing Amazing Grace. Can you imagine what that would be like, the experience you would have there? So if you've never been out that way, you can't miss it from seeing it on the highway. Pull through and go through all that.
You just told me about it last week and asked me, I couldn't remember why I hadn't seen it. It's been,
It's about 10 years old. I think.
yeah, it's been 30 or 40 years since I've been Amarillo. Maybe 40 years. Verse 16 said, but the 11 disciples proceeded to Galilee into the mountains which Jesus had designated. When they saw him, they worshipped him, but some were doubtful. And Jesus came up and spoke to them, saying, all authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. Go therefore and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. So this is the last thing that Matthew records of what Jesus says. And others say that basically the same thing with maybe a little bit of added to it. But what is this? It's not here in Matthew, but what happens after this?
They meet in the upper room. And
No, you're going too far.
He spends time with them.
Huh?
He spends time with them, or are you talking about the
The
road to
ascension.
Emmaus?
Right after he gets through telling them,
No, he
the
ascends.
ascension.
he ascends to heaven, doesn't he?
Mhm.
And it says that the cloud receive him, and then it said, why are you standing there looking? Said, the same Jesus you seen, right? He gonna come back the same way.
That's Acts 1.
Huh?
Acts 1.
Acts 1, okay. And so that's what we're looking for. What we're planning for. And that's what we need to be prepared for. Because we have no idea when it's going to be. You know, there are people today go around and say, well, does all the signs are right? It's the end time. Well, it's been the end time for 2,000 years. And basically most of these signs have been going on. In other words, be prepared. That's the message, is always be prepared. Because there's always been wars and rumors of wars. There's always been famines and pestilences. They've always been here. And it's a sign for us. That's a sign for us to pay attention and to always be ready. Always be prepared. Because we don't know when Jesus is coming again. We don't know how much time we have left here on this earth. We could have another 20 years, we may not have 20 minutes. So always be prepared. Our time is about up.
Hey, Virgil?
Yes, sir.
Can you imagine if those people that saw Jesus and they still took money to lie?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Signs don't cure everybody. You know, this was a magnificent sign. It didn't cure the guards, it didn't cure the religious leaders, it didn't help any of it. They still was bound and determined to go with the flow, and especially guards, well, give us some more money, because, you know,
People just had a mindset that
but they had the mindset that they would, you know, this couldn't happen, you know, even though it did. Anyway, next week I think is singing night. But anyway, our next meeting, which will be, I don't know what today is.
today's the 6th.
Today's the 7th?
6th.
6th, okay. So then somewhere around the 20th. We'll start on Mark chapter 1. We'll see what Mark has to say about the story of Jesus.